Please, please, please tell me the camera got that. Oh my gosh. Oh, I feel nauseous. Oh. That was scary. Did you guys click on this video for inspiration on building an 80-mile-per-hour e-bike? Well, if you did, don't watch this video, because after watching this, you're gonna wanna build something crazy yourself, and I can't be liable if anything bad happens to you. If your bike falls apart, if you go flying off of it, there's a lot that could happen when riding a super fast e-bike that was never meant to go fast. Whatever you do with your e-bike is on you. This is not a tutorial. This is not inspiration. This is just for entertainment purposes only. If someone were to come up to me and ask me, are your videos real and did you actually reach crazy high speeds? I would say, no, I did not do any of that. Not at all. What is going on, my beautiful Raspy Riders? We are finally gonna go over my 72-volt Ariel Rider X-Class. This bike is a beast. So today we're gonna go over everything I've done to this thing. I'm gonna turn on the daytime running light, because I think it makes the bike look so much cooler once that's on. So the first thing I'm gonna start with is the brakes. We upgraded to 4-piston hydraulic zoom brakes, and we have 203mm rotors front and rear. Along with those brakes, I did install some regen with my brake levers, so whenever I hit the brake lever and the motor cuts off, the regen kicks in and helps out the disc brakes. The brake setup is working for now, but eventually I do want to put a 220mm rotor in front. As for the wheels, these are motorcycle tires. They are Shinko 567s. Everyone always asks me the size. It is 110/70-16. And yes, these will fit any 20x4-inch fat tires. And when I did order them off of RevZilla, I did use 2 front tires. They don't have an option for a rear, so there are 2 fronts, and they're the exact same size. They are a little difficult to install if you've never used a motorcycle tire before, but I have a video that I'll put in the link in the description that shows a secret trick on what I do in order to make these tires go in a lot easier. For these forks, they are the stock Ariel Rider X-Class forks. They aren't the best, but they work for now. I think that's gonna be about like 2 inches of travel. Above our fender, we have our horn. It's pretty loud. It's as loud as a car's pretty much. And then we have this X headlight, which is freaking beautiful. I did run the high and low beams together when I did my wiring, but this thing's pointed pretty down, so I'm not going to be blinding any cars. For our handlebar setup, we have these gold accents right here. I think they go really well with the bike, mainly because the Ariel Rider logo is also gold, and I have gold zippers as well. Let me turn on the display. It looks like it's blinking because it's not matching my camera's frame rate, but to me, the numbers look fine. Now, usually I don't really install displays with my bike, but I kind of wanted to do it with this one just to test out my building skills and to see if I could. I don't really like doing displays that much because they never come plug and play, and they also never come with a mount. So everything about the display, you kind of have to figure out. And once you figured it out, you also have to tune your controller and the display to make the numbers match up. Making the numbers match up isn't that difficult, but the wiring can be a little tricky sometimes, and it's just a pain. Also, it tends to add a lot of clutter to the handlebars, especially because I use a phone holder also, so there's just a lot going on. I know some people really like the displays that they use, but for me, my phone works really well. It does look pretty cool at night though, I will admit that. The plastic film protector is still on. I low-key baby my bikes, so I don't want to take that off. Especially if someday I do want to resell this, which I probably don't, but in case I do, that screen is going to be well protected. On the right side of our handlebars, got a little bell. And we have our 3-speed switch. For my 3-speed switch, I did program number 1 to be a really quick kill switch. So if I click number 1, then there's going to be no power from the throttle. It's going to be really nice to have if I don't want to switch it off with the keys. I just want to press the button. For my level 2, I have the power set to a point where I could ride continuously without worrying about the motor burning out. But for level 3, that's going to be turn and burn, baby. Level 3 is going to give you max power, but you have to be really careful because level 3 means that you're pushing way more power than the motor can handle. But the good thing is that we have a temperature sensor. We can push the motor super hard, but once we notice the temperature rising above its working temp, then we can just back off a little bit until the motor cools down enough until we can start pushing it higher again. But we can ride continuously at like 50, 60 miles per hour, no problem. It's when we get to like 70s and 80s, that's when you really got to worry about the temperature. For myself as a builder and me trying to get better at tuning the controller and learning more about the parts that I use, I want full access and I want to be able to control everything. I hope someone set up their controller before and I told them, be very careful because the power that you're running right now, you know, if you push the bike too hard, it can burn out. You know, I even suggested lowering the power down, but they were really unhappy with the way their bike performed at the lower levels. So I told them, you know, be careful. We can always up the amps, but your motor could burn out at the same time. This mother trucker ended up burning up his motor and then he blamed me and wanted me to pay for it. I repeatedly told him that his motor is punching above his weight class, but he didn't really want to listen. So I think on some hill climb or something, his motor burned out and then he blamed me. So yeah, just be careful. And if you have no self-control, set an RPM limit or lower your amps and your motor should last a very long time. On my Anioki build that I used to deliver food, that's my work bike, and I have over 10,000 miles and the motor's still working really good. For our throttle, we are using a full twist. I started selling these 3-in-1 throttle, voltmeter, and key ignition switch on my website to make the far driver plug and play. So if you do find this online and you buy it yourself, it will not work with the far driver. I change out the connectors all by myself and make it ready to go for you guys. But if you want, you could find this somewhere else cheaper. You just got to figure out the wiring for yourself. It's not that difficult, but I make it easy for you guys. Now, for the hearts of our bike. I do say hearts because I got 2 batteries. One in here. This is going to be our top tank battery. And this is from Amorge. The bottom one's from Amorge also. So this one's going to be 20 amp hours. It fits really nicely in this tank bag from Rock Bros. And I use some zip ties to attach it to the frame. I like that there's a little bit of space right here if you want to put your wallet or phone charger. I have buddies that put a 12-volt battery pack in here to run all their lights. For myself, I'm using a light kit so that my lights can be ran off my batteries. This pack is going to be paralleled to another pack down here, and inside this is a 72-volt 40 amp hour battery from Amorge also. Our battery bag in the frame is going to be from JB Seats. He also made our seat right here, which is super nice and has a ton of cushion. But yeah, he made our bag, and I know a ton of people who want battery bags for their own bike, so you can reach out to him and customize your own bag if you want. You can put a logo. If I wanted to, I could put Raspy Rides on this. Open up the zipper. You can take a look at my battery. Both of these batteries are going to be using EVE 40 PL cells. A lot of people in the e-bike world, all they talk about is Samsung or Moly cell, but don't sleep on some other cells, man. Some of these cells are going to be way more powerful than the ones you typically hear. These cells are going to pack a way bigger punch compared to the Moly cell P42As. So do your research on cells. Everyone just talks about Samsungs and Moly cell, but there's going to be some really good stuff out there, like E40PL, Bach 45D. There's another one that's like a racing cell. I think it's called Ampace, maybe? But yeah, there's going to be some really good stuff out there. Just do your research. Next year, Amorge is actually going to start carrying some EVE 50 PL, and that's going to be the king of all cells. It's for sure going to be a game changer. I think it's going to be even better than the Moly cell P50B. In here I have the DC converter. It's going to power our lights. It's going to step down our 72 volt batteries to 12 volts and power our lights. The light kit that I'm using is from NB Power, and it makes it really convenient to use any motorcycle grade headlight. It comes with the headlight and taillight that's really good, but I didn't think it fit the look of this bike. So instead of using those lights, I just used my own from Amazon. our seat right here, which also came from JB Seats. I was having a hard time deciding between Caterpillar or diamond stitching. I ended up going with Caterpillar just because my first X-Class build had diamond stitching, so I wanted to try something different. And I really love that this seat can fit 2 people comfortably. Below the seat, we're gonna have our charging connector. And there's one also in the tank bag right here. And I can use both at the same time if I wanted to charge the bike up much faster. But I usually just use one, and one battery charges the other. That's the beauty of paralleling your batteries. Also underneath our seat, we have our far driver controller. And this thing is pushing out some serious power. These discharge cables are gonna be 4 gauge. They are so thick and beefy. So you know our battery is pushing out some serious power. With my battery setup, I'm running 2 QS8s that go into a Y connector that become a QS10. You can see the connector right there. It is just fat. Also coming out of our far driver is my motor cable. And this bright orange in-your-face cable, you know, it sparks a lot of hate in the Facebook communities. I posted a picture of the bike that showed this orange cable, and man, people really freaking hate on this thing. But you know the funny thing is that my friend Brett made me notice, and shout out to you, Brett. Thank you for always showing me support. He told me that everyone that talked crap about this bike never built anything themselves. I think if you're truly in the DIY community, you can appreciate other people's builds even if they don't look the best. I've said this before, but for some reason, the e-bike community is one of the few niches out there where we all hate each other. Like, it's kind of weird. You know, motorcyclists don't really like us, bicyclists don't really like us, cars don't like us, pedestrians don't like us. Even within the community, e-bikers will hate on each other, and it's really annoying. But you know what? That's a topic for a different video. Yeah, shout out to you, Brett, for always having my back. And, you know, I don't think this build looks too bad. That orange cable does stand out a lot. I might change it in the future, but for now, I kind of like it. If I ever get bored, another friend, Lane, suggested that I can cover this with a gold wire cover. Instead of like the black I used right here, I can use a gold one and it'll match the rest of the bike. To me, the orange color makes the bike feel special. And when I see that, I know that it's gonna be pretty fast. Behind the controller, I do have a brake light, and it does have turn signals also. When I hit the brakes, it does light up. And last but not least, let's talk about this motor. We're gonna have a QS205 that's been rebranded by NB Power. NB Power makes their own motors, but they will also take other people's motors and kind of rebrand it. So even though it might not say QS on it, it's gonna perform pretty much the same. It's kind of like how if there's a factory that produces Nike shoes, but someone else takes shoes from that factory, and instead of putting Nike, they put some random logo on it. The shoe is gonna feel and look like Nike, but is it gonna be Nike without that logo? No, that's up to your opinion. This bad boy is rated for 5,000 watts continuous, but with my setup, I've seen it peak over 20,000 watts. So you can push a ton of power through the QS205 for short periods of time. Pro tip to anyone that's running a high-powered hub motor and has spokes, these can get loose over time and they'll break. The key for it to not get loose is to make sure you're running proper PSI. I've noticed if your PSI dips too low and it causes a ton of rolling resistance, it's gonna put a lot of stress on these spokes and make it get loose and then eventually snap. I used to run my tires at like 20 PSI to have a super soft ride, but my spokes would always get loose. Once I started running them at 30 PSI, I rarely ever have that problem. So yeah, that's gonna be pretty much it for the build. The only thing I have to do left is add some mirrors and flat out to my tires. I'm eventually gonna get to doing that. I'm just kind of tired of working on this bike, so I've kind of moved on from it, but eventually I'll get to it. For now, let's move on to the speed run. I actually performed the speed run earlier this morning. I wanted to get out on the road before there was too many cars out, and I think I did it around like 7 o'clock a.m. on a Sunday. So let's jump to that right now. All right guys, so this is gonna be test number 1 to reach 80 miles per hour on the Ariel Rider X-Class. If you guys are wondering, I'm about 175 pounds and I'm 5'6" in height. So without further ado, let's go for test number 1. Hopefully we can do it within 1 or 2 tests. So right now, our motor temperature is 31 degrees Celsius. And our working temperature is actually going to be from 70 to 120, and it peaks at 150. We currently have 82.4 volts, so we're at about 90% charge. And let's get my GPS going. Clear out the GPS right now. We're good to go. I gotta pull over. Oh, I feel a little nauseous. Please, please, please tell me the camera got that. Oh my gosh. Oh, I feel nauseous. Guys, my legs and my hands are a bit shaky right now because that was the first time where I think I just hit 80. That was scary. Let's check the GPS. 80.1. God damn. I feel like we could have kept climbing, guys. Oh my gosh. All right, let's check the temperature. So that little burst made us jump up to 55 degrees Celsius. It is about 7:30 a.m. on a Sunday morning, and the sun's not really out yet. So that's giving us an advantage with the motor temperature also. Okay, I'm gonna do that speed run one more time, but this time instead of showing my speedometer on my phone, I'm gonna do a graph recording of the Far Driver app. Alright, so we could not replicate 80. I think after that first run, I kind of psyched myself out for everything else. So I'm going to wrap this video up. If you guys want to build something like this and you don't want to do it yourself, feel free to reach out to me at raspysstore@gmail.com. If you guys have any questions or comments, leave them down below. Please give this video a thumbs up and a like, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace!